excited to talk to you guys. So, I mean, I can share my screen, kind of walk you guys through it. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. If you want to give us a breakdown how you use the platform,
Yeah.
some of your favorite tools. I know,
Yeah.
as you mentioned, you guys cover futures, forex,
Yeah.
equities, so that's really great. I know a lot of members in our community like to trade futures, so I guess, guys, for today's session, we're gonna primarily focus on futures.
Yeah. Perfect. Um, yeah, we do have stocks. We have every stock. I mean, we have over 3,500, I think, stocks. We have forex. We have every pair. We have for crypto. We have the main coins. We don't have all the meme coins. We don't get the data on those, and we probably don't want people touching those, to be honest. But we do have crypto. We have Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Litecoin, Chainlink, whatever. And then we have futures as well. But just before I go into that, I want to walk you guys through how everything is laid out, so you can see once you come in here, so you kind of have an understanding of like where everything is, but also so you're not, you see how simple we have it.
Andre, I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Here,
Somebody just messaged me that they have a bit of an echo from you. I just want to see if there's any way I could fix that. Guys, is that echoing?
my headphones in and see.
Okay. It might be. It's okay. It's on.
Is that better? Do you want to just ask if that's better? I can't see the chat.
Okay, yeah, that's better.
Okay, perfect, perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So I want to walk you guys through how everything is laid out, so you can see that it's very simple. Like it's very digestible. You don't have to. It's not like a whole data analysis platform. You can't hear it. You don't really have to do much once you come in. So up top, over here, this is your navigation bar. This is how you literally do everything on the site. This is your steering wheel. So starting from the left to the right, you can pick your market here. So whether you want to trade the Nvidia, you want to trade Tesla, you want to trade whatever, this is where you're going to go and switch that around. We have three different types of reports. We have price action, volume, and indicator reports. So we cover it all. You click on this report type drop down, you're going to see them right here. Price action, volume, and indicators. We also have them grouped by trading style. So like if you're a scalper, day trader, or swing trader, you can also see them right here, and that'll regroup the reports. Now that we're in the price action report type, when I go over here to the reports, I click on this, I'm going to see all of the price action reports that we have right over here. So going next is the ticker. So this is obviously super important. You trade ES, you trade XQ, you trade YM, you trade gold, oil, even if you have live cattle, you can trade it. You can see all of the data here too. Then this is actually really important, specific to futures, crypto, and forex traders, is sessions. So this allows you to narrow down or filter the data session. Like if you want to start your New York session at 8:30 instead of 9:30, you can do that here. Then this date range right over here is going to show you how is allows you to control how far back you want the report to look. So in this case, we're looking at the cash flow report in the last 6 months. You can pick a custom time frame, so you can pick custom start and end dates, but we have little shortcuts right here of trailing periods. Goes back up to 5 years. Now, one thing that I want to mention that's really important about this 5 year period, we get questions all the time of like, well, how did this work over 10 years? Or how did this work over 20 years? And we are traders. This platform is for trading. It is not for investing. The market does not move the way that it did in 2004 today. What happens if you want to look back 20 years is you're going to get 99% of the data is going to be irrelevant, and then your 1% is going to be so washed out of the current market environment that the data is going to be completely useless. Personally, I don't recommend going over 1 year because, again, we're traders, we're not investors. 1 year will give you the biggest sample size, so you get obviously the most amount of data. And I like to compare that to the 6 and 3 month. So then I like to say, are the shorter time frames aligned with the higher time frame? If so, let's keep hammering on this report. If not, I want to take a step back and maybe wait because the market environment is changing. Just a really important note for me.
Andre, I'm so sorry to stop you again.
Oh, no.
we usually when we host these, it's on Zoom. Right now, again, somebody messaged saying I'm on YouTube and it's not working well. Rob, what's going on? Is it the audio? Is it a? I know visual looks fine. Again, I want to get the best out of it, and I don't want
No,
to
no, no,
waste
no.
your
Of course,
time.
of course, of course, of course. Don't and no worries on that too. It's totally fine.
Awesome. Not going well. Let's check the volume, guys, one more time.
Yep. Can you guys hear me okay?
Let's see.
Yeah, no worries at all.
Thank you. Maybe it's my audio. No, I don't think that would have anything to do with OBS. All right. Okay, he's better now. Can you hear him fine?
Better now?
Okay, awesome.
Can you guys hear me okay? Better now? I'm just testing,
Great.
testing. You guys can hear me?
Thank you for your patience. Thank you,
No,
everybody.
no, of course, of course. Listen, I understand. We get technical issues all the time too, so totally fine. Okay, so kind of summarizing that point, I don't recommend going over 1 year. I would say 1 year, 6 month, and 3 month. Compare them. If they're all in the same direction, like if they're all like in the ballpark of 70%, keep hammering. If they're starting to deviate, like the shorter time frames are really different from the longer ones. Let's say, obviously, in like the last couple of weeks, the election has created a different market environment from before the election. Maybe this is where you say, maybe I want to use smaller size or whatever else if the data is changing.
That's awesome. Yeah, I personally, when I'm using Edgeful, me too, I look at 3 month, 6 month, and I go between year to date and 1 year.
Perfect.
Right now, though, because it's November, those are already very similar.
Yeah, they're going to be the same.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's, in my opinion, it's a sweet spot. That 1 year to that 3 month is really the area you want to focus on.
Yeah.
These little bubbles here are going to be filters on the report. So for example, this is the gap fill report. Now you can see we have it by gap size, we have it by weekday, we have it by time. So these are just going to be filters. Some reports have them, some reports don't. We also will, if you guys want to add a filter to the report, you can go down here and send us a message and request a new feature. We also take report requests too. So for example, a completely separate, like outside of like a filter, but a completely separate concept of like, hey, I see you guys don't have a report on this. Can you build this? And as long as you can explain it well enough, like you tell us like, this is what I want to measure, it's completely objective, then we can actually build it out for you. An example would be like something that we actually don't have is if the initial reaction of CPI is positive, how often does a day close green or red? If that initial reaction of CPI is negative, how often does the day close green or red? So if you use like a 15-minute candle starting from 8:30 Eastern to whatever, 8:45, I want to see, is there a correlation between that initial reaction and the day? So that's an example of a report that we don't have that we should probably build, but that you guys can request. So we take actual custom report requests from our traders. Going down a little bit more, right here, we always have the visual representation. Honestly, this is probably where your eyes are going to spend the most time, right over here in this area, and we have the table representation. Always really important to keep in mind the frequency right over here. So something might be 75%, but it might have only happened 4 times, and 3 of them have made it 75%. So just always keep that in mind. Some things set up more often than others, but just keep in mind the frequency. Scrolling down, we have some explainer graphs, so you can see what a gap up is, what a gap down, what a gap up filled is. Over here to the right, we have the explainer text with some examples, like what is this report measuring? A little bit further down, this is actually somewhat overlooked, which I think is a little bit of a shame. We have 30 private TradingView indicators that come with the subscription. So the way to get access to them, the way to get access to them, and it's completely part of the subscription. You just click over here, get access now. You put your TradingView username, not your Edgeful email. TradingView username goes in here. And the way you can find that, right here at the top left, you're going to see a profile button. You're going to click on that. Right here is going to be your TradingView username. Mine is obviously Edgeful, but yours will be whatever it is. Throw that in this box, click get access, and then when you go to your indicators now, you're going to see this invite only pop up, and you're going to see all of them right here. So you only have to do this once. You get all the new ones added immediately to your account, and any updates that come out will automatically be updated once we publish the updates.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was looking
Yeah,
at that on the gap fill. That's very cool. Very cool how
yeah,
the indicator works too, how it actually shows the gap closing.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's super important that we want to make this, and I'll show you guys that in a second, but we really want to make it to where it's as easy. We want to take away all of the pressure of having to find your setups, find an edge, and we just want you to focus on executing on that edge, executing on the trade so you can start to make money. You don't have to worry about, oh, did my edge from last year, did it change? The data in here updates every day, so you'll actually be able to see it live as it's changing. You don't have to worry about like updating in Excel or like buying another PDF of someone that like did some like big analysis from 3 years ago.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool.
Um, yeah. So a little bit further down, we have some explainer text. What is this measuring and how can I use it? A little bit further down here, this is a table that actually makes up every day of the results. So you can see right here, the 73%. If you scroll down, you can actually see every single day that made up the 73%. So gap down, filled, gap down, not filled, etc.
That's awesome. And you could view price chart and it'll bring you
Yeah,
to that date.
exactly. That's
Wow, look at
exactly right.
that.
Yeah,
This is
so it'll bring you to that date.
so this is Edgeful's practically like a back testing software
Yeah,
for you. Like so you don't have to
exactly.
spend hours and hours back testing. Edgeful will tell you. You know, if you're looking for that, do you guys have midnight price? Like
Yeah, yeah.
I
The
mean,
midnight open.
that's yeah, that's awesome. That's great. I
Yeah,
mean, all these different things, and like he mentioned, if you guys have an idea or a strategy or something you're looking for that Edgeful doesn't offer, if you hit that little icon in the bottom, I've done it
yep.
myself. They answer so fast. Such a great team over there, and such a
Yeah,
great
thank you.
platform too. Trading
Yeah,
with
thank you. I
statistics and
appreciate that.
probabilities is that's the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really trade long term on emotion. You can get lucky on a lotto on earnings, you can get lucky here and there, but over time it just doesn't work.
Yep.
So having the data and having it update is really important too. Like I know a lot of people, they'll buy these PDFs. Someone will do like a very in-depth analysis, but then it gets stale over time
Right.
because the market environments change. So and this doesn't get stale.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So
Yeah, I always talk about, market conditions are always changing. It's almost like
100%.
seasons, We're not
Yeah.
ever, if something's working great for you right now, don't expect it to always work great. Be prepared to
Yeah.
adjust your plan, adjust your system to the market.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
awesome,
And
dude.
for new traders, that is a little bit scary to say like, oh, I found something that's working, but my expectation should be that it's no longer going to work.
Yep,
At some
it'll never
point,
work again.
yeah, exactly. And that is a little bit scary. I mean, it does happen. I mean, it's scary for me. I'm sure it's scary for you because you're like, what if I don't find something? That's where this comes into play because now you can see what is actually working now. So you don't have to go and like rediscover a whole thing, like a whole strategy. You can
Right.
say, okay, well, I see this is working now. The probabilities are higher right now and they're increasing. This is something I can focus on. And now you can start to build around that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really great.
The last thing that I want to touch on just relating to the layout, and in my opinion, this is the most important piece, and we're actually redesigning the whole site and we're gonna move this a lot higher. But this video will tell you everything you need to know about the report. It's at most 5 minutes. It tells you what the report is measuring, how you can use it with live chart examples. So anytime you come across a new report that you want to kind of discover, just go straight down to the video. It's 5 minutes. It's not a whole course. And you'll understand exactly what it's doing and how you can actually apply it and like take trades with it.
And who makes those videos? You do or
Personally, I do.
That's awesome. That's great. A
Yeah,
hands-on
yeah,
CEO showing us how it's done. Something
exactly.
tells me you made this platform more for yourself than for everybody else.
I'll actually, I can actually tell you guys the story. So, like the founding story. So, my background is in finance and accounting. I used to work at a hedge fund called Weiss Asset Management, and then I worked at Goldman Sachs. I left Goldman and I started to trade personally. And one of the things that I was looking for that I struggled with in the beginning is how can I find a bias every day? I didn't know, like, should I expect price to go up? Should I expect price to go down?
Right.
And the gap fill was one of the things that it gave me a bias and a target every single day. For those of you who don't know, a gap fill is just when price touches the previous day's closing price. So if today opens above, you can have a short bias targeting the previous close. If today opens below, you can have a long bias targeting the previous close. So it's a very simple setup. It's not complicated. It's very simple. So I was like, this is something, it clicked with me.
Yeah.
I understand this. It clicks with my personality. It clicks with my trading style. I want to look into this. So I start to look into it. I go on Twitter, go on YouTube, go on Instagram. Everyone is saying, oh yeah, the gaps fill 100% of the time. I'm like, okay, obviously it's not true. And I have a lot of experience with data. Obviously I worked in finance, so I'm very comfortable with Excel. I have certifications. Like, I'm extremely comfortable with Excel. Like, there's like practically nothing that I haven't done in Excel in terms of like functionality. So I download a bunch of data, throw it into Excel, and now I can see how often gaps actually fill. Gaps up, gaps down. I'm doing it by weekday. I'm doing it by size. And now I'm starting to add in all these variables, all of this like stuff that's making the Excel so clunky and like extremely hard to manipulate. Right. I had to manually update it every day. It was a nightmare. And then I added more reports. It became like a little bit of a disaster. And I was like, you know what? It's taking me way too long to figure out how to like create one of these new reports, like 5-6 hours, to not even know if it was going to have any like meaningful results.
Right.
So I was like, let me just find a software that does it. There has to be something that does this for me. Go online, sign up for literally every single software in the trading space. Nothing does what Edgeful does, which is, as shocking as that is to hear, it was more shocking for me.
Yeah. You would expect something to be out there that shows statistics like
100%.
that, you know?
100%.
So that's amazing. That's genius. This is truly a one-of-a-kind software.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It was built for a trader, by a trader, you know? Like, it's not...
There's your slogan.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it wasn't built by some guy that saw an opportunity in a space he's not familiar with. Like, I'm
right,
so
to make
deep
money.
In this space.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. Like, I built this because I actually needed it.
And that's why it's such a clean, easily usable website, not crazy expensive. It's reasonable and, again, so useful. I mean, to have that back testing in front of you without spending hours back testing, huge. And again, no other software 100%. Like this.
Yeah, and which is a little bit scary, to be honest. Like, it is crazy that there isn't any.
Why do you say that?
Else. I say that because it makes me think, like, we don't have any legit direct competitors. We have other competitors that have amazing tools, but there are no direct competitors, which is scary because either we're the first ones, so we're the pioneers, which I think is actually the case, that we now have to make all the mistakes to learn. We have nobody to learn from.
Yep.
So that's where I'm like, it is a little bit scary because usually you look at, let's say you want to make like athletic wear, like gym clothes, like you have Nike, you have Adidas, you have all these companies that you can look at, learn from their mistakes, and now you can accelerate your growth. But we have no one to look at.
Right.
So that's why it's scary for me, because we're just like, we have to experiment, we have to do trial and error, which we're very, very open to. Like, almost all of the features that we have in here are based on feedback that we've gotten. So 3 days a week, I get on calls with our users from 1 p.m. Eastern to 4 p.m. Eastern. I personally will get on one-on-one calls and hear what the issues are, what people like, what they don't like, so then we can steer the app in a direction that is actually what people want and not what we're just assuming people want.
Dude, that's huge. Not only a one-of-a-kind software, but you guys are actually speaking with the people using it
every day,
continuously trying to make it better. That is amazing. How long has Edgeful been out for?
We launched in January of this year. Yeah, so it's been 10, 11 months now.
How many users?
We don't disclose.
That's okay. No worries.
Yeah, we're very happy with our growth.
Okay.
But we don't disclose for any acquisition purposes. For anything
No, I get that. No worries. No worries. Was just curious, ballpark.
Yeah. But no, it's been such an incredible journey. Like, even the amount of people that are if you like our reviews on Trustpilot in our Discord, it's like I'm starting to pass challenges. Like, this has revolutionized my trading. Like, I'm actually making money now. Like, I discovered this thing that's so nuanced in like the London session that I found, and now I execute on every day. It's like making me money. Like, I was able to quit my job. Like,
that's
the impact
awesome.
that it's having is
what a testimonial.
I know, I know. It's truly incredible. Like even
And how
it makes us,
heartwarming to know
yeah,
you made a
exactly.
difference.
Exactly. And that's the thing. I mean, our logo is the eagle because it symbolizes freedom.
Love it. Love it.
And that's what we want to do with this platform is give people the freedom to like just freedom in general. Because
Yep.
trade once you cross over that hump of becoming profitable,
Right.
you truly have the most pure form of freedom.
Absolute freedom. You take off
Yeah.
whenever you need to take off. There's nobody to
Yep.
answer to. It's truly, truly amazing what trading can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
100%.
you know, with Edgeful too, as great as it is for statistics and everything, it does also help in a psychological factor that let's say you're looking for previous day high, previous day low, right? And
Yep.
something on crude oil, previous day highs broke into an 80% chance of closing green. Well, that might help somebody psychological who might be trying to chase a short position. They could say,
Correct.
okay, you know what? No, if the
100%.
odds are we're going to continue, maybe I should change my bias. Maybe I should change
Correct.
my thought.
100%. And
Awesome.
we can go into these reports now. And one thing that what I want to show you actually is one of these reports. So, like in this one, which I'll touch on in a second, because I personally, this is one of my favorites. This is the Gapful report is the one that started the company. But the one that I want to mention is,
That's crazy.
where is it? I know it really is, honestly. Green and red days by weekday. So this report shows you how often a certain weekday will close red or green. So what you can see right here on Mondays is that it's 50-50.
Right.
There are other reports that have results that are 50-50. Now, when you see that, you might think, oh, that's not useful. I'm not like, that's not really helpful. However, exactly like you just said, if you have some sort of bias that tells you, oh yeah, Mondays are always green.
Right.
So I'm going to be really bullish on Mondays. This helps you actually understand there is no edge if I'm going for a green or red day based on the weekday.
Yep.
And this applies across the board. This applies to all the reports that we have. If something is 50-50, it's not that it's useless. It's that you should remove that as a source of confluence for
Right.
a trade idea that you have.
Right.
So that's one of the things that I wanted to mention. I mean, today's Thursday. There's a 71% of the time in the last 6 months.
Wow.
Thursdays have been red. It's pretty strong.
And what's great too, what I really like is that you can, look back at the past 1 month, the past 3 months.
Yeah.
Because like you said, when the market is changing, we have a shift in market conditions.
Yeah.
A 15-minute fair value gap might go from hitting 75% of the time to now being mitigated 75% of the time.
Correct.
So now we could
Correct.
find something else. How often previous day high, the weekly
Correct.
opening range, all these other
Yep.
tools, the opening range breakouts,
Yep.
everything, gap fill. I mean, so amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's there is something for everyone.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of actually finding it, and we're completely redesigning the site right now, actually, to make this experience so much better. Like personally for me, I can't even stand to look at this anymore because I know what's coming.
Right.
And I'll actually show you guys once we go over some of the reports. I'll show you guys the new updates. But I can't even stand this version because I know what's coming and how much better it's going to be.
Yeah.
But what I'll do now is I'll touch on the.
You're saying the next
Gapful
version
report.
of Edgeful?
Yeah, we're redesigning we're changing the interface. It's going to be similar, but these minor changes are really going to change a lot.
That's
I'm
awesome.
going to show you guys the designs.
Cool.
Yeah.
When are we expecting that to drop?
Probably by the end of December, maybe early January.
Cool.
So like in the next 6 weeks ish.
Very cool.
Yeah. Okay, so gap fill. Let's talk about the gap fill. This is one of my personal favorite reports. Obviously, it was the one that started the company. So and this is also really important for the sessions. So you guys see these blue boxes here?
Yep.
This is the market sessions indicator that we have built. So standard, it's going to come out like this, where it will highlight the Tokyo session, the London session, and the New York sessions. You can, if you double click on it, you can actually customize the start and end times. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the Asian and London sessions. Click OK, so you can see just the New York boxes right here.
Very cool.
So when you're thinking about a gap fill and you're looking at this New York session, you are only looking at the data within these blue boxes, and you are completely ignoring the data between them. So imagine you're filtering out only for the data in the New York session, and you're completely ignoring everything else. The reason that we do that is so you can have the most relevant data for the times that you actually trade. So when we're looking at a gap fill in that New York session, we're going right here. This blue line is my previous session's closing price. So your previous session close, that is your key level for the gap fill. Right. Your single key level for the gap fill is your previous close. Now you can see, and this is on NQ, this is actually today that this happened. My open is right here. I'll make this green.
Yep.
Now you can see on NQ today, there was a 123 point gap up, and it filled within the first 5 minutes, or within the first 10 minutes actually.
Wow. Yeah.
So when you see the percentages here, 60% of the gaps up in the last 6 months have filled, 73% of the gaps down have filled. So when price opens down here below the previous session's close, you can have a bullish bias targeting this previous closing price.
Right.
So today it worked beautifully. This was definitely a larger gap. This doesn't really set up as often as in terms of like being this big. But one thing that we added was the ability to customize this report. I'm not delusional. I know that people struggle to hold on to their winners, especially for a 124 point move. Very rare that someone's going to hold on to it the whole time. What we did was now we allow you to customize how far of this gap you want to measure for a fill. So for example, I'm using my measuring tool on TradingView. You can see this is the halfway point.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to put down I'll just make it yellow. This yellow line is the halfway point between the open and the gap fill. Now let's look at these stats here. Now, right now, it's measuring only if price touches this blue line. But what happens if you only want to hold to the halfway point? You can go right here, click customize, move this to 50%, which would be that half gap. Click save. 75% of the time, this is going to work now. 80% of the time, it will work with a gap down. So higher probability targets throughout this area here, you can trim, and then you can leave your runners to hit the gap fill. You can take profits along the way, and you can actually customize this to be any increment you want. Even if you go to, let's say, 60%, the odds are going to change. They're going to be a lot higher.
Yeah.
So for Pete, let's say you're in a losing streak. Give yourself the wins. Give yourself the buffer to get the confidence back. You can leave some profits on the table, but walk away with a green day. Take your profits at high probability areas like this halfway point.
Right. You'd rather take something that's in your favor and that's a winning trade anyways and take profits, leave some on the table. That's okay. You know, if we're going for a piece of the pie, we don't want the whole thing. You know, we want to take ours and be okay with that.
Exactly. So you're never going to catch the whole move. Unfortunately, it's just not how it works. If you catch the trading, people will go on Twitter, they'll see, oh, some guy made 1,000% on his options. Some guy caught like 100 point move on NQ. And you get this sort of FOMO that you're not doing that. And then you start to get this like unrealistic expectation of like what trading really is.
Right.
Trading is about consistency, is about batting for singles and doubles, and about continuously making gains, continuously having an equity curve in your account that slowly goes up. You don't want it to go rocket ship upwards, because then it comes rocket ship back down.
Yep.
And we've all been there.
Yep.
Everyone has been there. We've all had those days where you make, I don't know what, like your best day ever, and then the following week, over the next 3 days, you give it back and more because your confidence just goes through the roof. It's not what you want. You want to be consistent. You want to you want to bat for singles and doubles. Occasionally, a home run will set up, but typically you don't want to be aiming for those every day. So that's just regarding catching the whole move.
Yep. Those catching the whole move is very unrealistic expectation.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And it only happens once in a while. Like today is a huge move. like even looking at this, like I'm getting FOMO looking at it. Just
Right.
like this is an insane move down, and I'm just not willing to. I mean, I just have calls all day, so I can't really trade. I did take a trade this morning on Tesla, but the like a move like this is when you have this like massive range, like it does give you FOMO. Like you don't want to be chasing now.
Right.
Like even just like more on the psychological piece, like you don't want to be chasing right now. Like, oh yeah, it's gonna keep going down. Like it's gone down 400 points almost in the first hour. Like the move is done. If you haven't caught it, yeah, it might continue, but as the day goes on, the probabilities will drop off in terms of like continuation to the short side or whatever else.
Yep.
But just one other thing about this gap fill report, you can go to the by weekday and see how the different weekdays behave. So you can see, for example, Wednesday gap up, very different from a Monday gap
Very
up.
strange. Interesting how the market reacts, and again, so great how Edgeful gives us that edge. It's not just telling us in total when it goes by weekday. If it's a Wednesday, you could say, hold up, wait a minute. I can't treat this like any other day. The stats are different.
Correct. 100%. And a lot of people they have this idea that, oh, I only trade ES, so it should behave the same every day. Across the board, the stats disprove that. Across the board, on almost any report, just because you're trading the same instrument does not mean that every weekday is going to behave the same. So I wanted to point that out. And for the gap fill report specifically, one of the most important things is the size of the gap. So what you can see, this is the gap between 0 and 0.19%. So like, for example, today, there was a gap of 0.6%. So this is a bigger gap here today.
That's a little difficult though to go by like a percent like that instead of a point. Would you guys be able to change that to a point situation where it's like maybe like 5 points ES, 10 points ES, 15 points, 20 points plus?
The reason that we cannot do that is because let's say here August.
Yeah.
The NQ was at 18,000.
Right.
Now it's at 20,000. So a 1% move.
I get what you're saying. It adjusts accordingly.
Hugely different. Exactly. A 1%. Like if we go by points here, the gap is going to be bigger at 18,000, but you go to 20,000 at a 5-point move is like tiny, is like nothing.
Right. Absolutely.
So that's why.
Yep. No, that makes sense.
It is a little bit more complicated just because you have to measure it out and it's a little bit harder. But if we go by like the point or dollar increment, even if you go back to the last year, you're looking at a $15,000 price for NQ. And that's like not even close. Like a 100-point move back then is a much bigger move than a 100-point move now.
100%. We get like 300 points moves now. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why we can't do it. We actually get that question a lot. But that's why we can't. For those of you who use TradingView, this measuring tool is going to be your best friend. And if you just, for those of you, the shortcut is you just hold shift when you click. Exactly. This is your best friend here. And seriously, I've used this more than any tool without question on TradingView. It is the easiest thing to just quickly measure, okay, my gap is 0.6%.
Do you know the trend line trick?
No.
The go up to not the horizontal ray one, but the trend line. Yeah. And just like draw a straight trend line but on a bit of an angle. So if you don't click it down yet, press shift now and it'll straighten it out for you.
That's good.
Right?
I like that one. Yeah. Oh, and it does it for each of the, I guess, like increments. That's
90-degree angle and stuff. Yeah.
You learn something new every day. That's pretty good. Thank you.
Gotcha.
So smaller gaps tend to fill as you get to the bigger ones.
Right.
The probabilities start to drop off extremely heavily. So when you see I'll try to find some, here's a good example. This was the other couple days ago, maybe a couple weeks ago. From here to here, 1.7%. There's no shot this is retracing back all the way down today. So that's one other thing that I didn't mention is if price comes back down, let's just say these are the 3 days that we're looking at. If it doesn't get back to this point, let me just draw this out. Sorry about that. If it doesn't draw this, so if this, obviously there's a huge gap up here. If it does this, and then the next day it comes and does that, this still counts as not filled.
Okay.
We're only measuring the gaps. Did it fill or did it
That
not
day.
fill today?
Okay.
This is the most actionable for traders, for day traders and scalpers, because you don't want to say, well, one didn't fill 3 days ago, one filled yesterday, and then the one from 3 days ago, is that going to fill today? And then there was also one today. It's very confusing. So we keep
Right.
it. Did it fill or did it not fill today?
Oh, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that. On your fair value gap report, does that look at the current day or does that look at past? Like if
So, yeah, so
like a
just,
30-minute fair value gap on Nasdaq, is that also counting yesterday's 30-minute fair value gap that wasn't mitigated yet?
so it either gets mitigated or not today.
Okay, awesome.
So it has to form. So here's a good example. This is one.
Yep.
And our indicator doesn't actually match it perfectly because it's very hard to do it on like TradingView. It's a TradingView limitation.
Yeah,
But you can see
because you
right
can only
here.
go back so many too.
Yep. So you can see right here. I'm actually gonna right here. I'll make this green. Let me make this green. Okay. So you can see right here. There's a 30-minute bullish fair value gap that did not get mitigated. Price
Right.
did not come back down and do this.
Right.
Right. So this would count as an unmitigated fair value gap. And even if price does this the next day, it doesn't matter because we're telling you how often a fair value gap that forms today will get mitigated today.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yep. So you can see actually over 75% of the time, you're going to get the 5-minute mitigations today.
Yep.
So when you see one form,
Short
you
it.
can find a good entry, exactly, and then you can target those levels, super high probability areas.
Very cool.
And then obviously there are going to be days like this where you can see like this. There's one right here. There's another one right here, and it works over time. And there's a huge sample size too. So you can see there's a lot of data here that's being covered, and yeah, I mean this report's actually really popular too.
Would you guys be able to add in the fair value gap report unused or like untouched, like if it wasn't touched that day, price didn't come back into it, or is that a little too in depth? Because that would be a cool like extra category.
Interesting. Yeah, we can. I mean, that would be like if it didn't get touched at all, like this one, for example.
Yeah, like when we have like 3 5-minute fair value gaps in a row that people are like, oh, well, maybe I'll take this one, maybe I'll take this one.
Yeah.
You know, how often do we have two that don't go touched at all during the day, you know, on Wednesdays?
Yeah. We can definitely do that, for sure. Cool. Like, for example, this would be an example of that, right? Where, like, bullish fair value gap, price continues, never gets touched, and then now it remains unmitigated.
Awesome.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. Yeah, for sure. One of the other, do you guys ever look at the orb, the opening range breakout?
Not too often, but I probably am going to throw it in my my little pre-market preps I have in the morning.
There's another one too. Do you guys trade power hour at all?
Not so much. Sometimes we do have moderators in the morning and the afternoons, so they do.
Okay.
We do have somebody on for power hour.
Okay. I'm going to show you guys one. It's called the opening candle continuation. And what this does, I'll just go to a 30-minute quick. I'll go to the first hour is actually the one that I like the most. So what this report measures, this opening candle continuation report, what it measures is if the first hour of the session is green, how often does the day close green?
Right.
And you can see if the first hour is red, how often does the day close red? You can see on ES in the New York session in the last 6 months, 70% of the time, if the first hour is green, which just means the open to the close of that first hour.
Right.
If the close is higher, that's green. If the close is lower, that's red.
That's it.
There is a very, very strong bias that you can get from this here. So I'll show you guys an example quick. Let me just go to a smaller time frame, or actually I can use this time frame. So right here is your opening candle, right here. And I'll mark out the open of it so you can see this is yellow. And now I'm going to go to the close of the 10:30 candle. That's the first hour from 9:30 to 10:30.
Okay.
So right here, you can see that this is absolutely green.
Yep.
And I'll make that actually green just for the sake of the...
And that's great too that you guys measure it from the 9:30 to 10:30 instead of 9 to 10 because we don't
Yeah.
open till 9:30.
Correct.
Fantastic.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And you can customize that too. If you create a custom session, you can start your candle whenever you want.
Cool.
That's like fully customizable. But
Very cool.
like in this case, you can see that the first hour was very much green. And then now, once that first hour is green, you can expect the day to close green. So very, very strong bias in that first hour. That once that first hour is set, you get a very strong bias. 70% of the time when that first candle is green, that first hour, you're gonna expect a green day.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. We also have it by weekday too, obviously. So you can see how different, like for example, Tuesdays, super strong probabilities, almost 90%.
Wow.
So even more of an edge there where you give yourself a lot more confidence to be long and to be buying dips, perhaps. And like for example, Thursdays, if the first hour is red, which I mean, it seems like today, super high probability that the day's gonna close red. I mean, the move down already is insane. So I'm pretty confident it's gonna be red, but yeah. So this is another one very popular. It's gotten very popular.
And this one is which one? The opening candle continuation. So that, like you said, just opens. If it's green, where do we close? Very cool.
Correct.
So that's opening candle. Somebody asked if we could cover the initial balance. Look at the IB levels. Cool.
Sure. So the initial balance. I'm gonna go to the first hour. The initial balance is always the first hour of the market open. I'm actually gonna go to our trading view indicators to show you guys that we do have indicator for this.
Wow, that's cool.
You can see, so we have the initial balance, the IB right here. You click on that, and now you're going to get the high and the low of the first hour for every single day automatically plotted on your charts. You can see all of them right here. And like, for example, today it is absolutely humongous. But what the report says here is that in the last 6 months, you should only expect one side to break. 73% of the time, you're only going to get a break of one side of the orb. So once that first side breaks, like, for example, right here, this was on Tuesday, you want to look for continuation.
That's a cool one.
In this case, this side broke, you can expect more continuation. It did retrace, but it never gets back to this opposite side.
Right.
So you don't want to have a very short bias or like a very, a reversal bias relating to this opening range. Like for example, here, breaks, just continues down for the majority of the day. You're not going to expect one of these to happen. You do not want to expect a major reversal. That only happens 26% of the time. Not terrible, but I'm not going to go for this. Yeah, I'm not going to go for this.
We'll go for the 3 to 4.
Exactly. And as long as you make sure that your winners outweigh your losers on the days where you're wrong, over time it takes care of itself, which is psychologically it's difficult, but once you what from the feedback that we've gotten about Edgeful, it gives traders the confidence to sit in their trades because they know the probabilities behind them. So like without data, to be honest, like you're just guessing.
Yep. You're
hoping that it's going to go in your favor. You probably don't have a quantifiable edge. You probably really can't explain why you're taking a trade, which is you should never take a trade just because, it's going up, I want to buy it, so it continues going up. So when you're in drawdown or when you give back a little bit of your profits and it's not just flushing right to your favor, you have the confidence to sit in that trade and actually let it play out because you know the data behind it. And that's where, even in this case, like for the initial balance, if you take a loss, you know that in the next time, you're probably going to make it back.
Right.
So that psychological aspect of like, well, I know the actual data now. I have the confidence to stick to it because I'm no longer making things up in my head. I'm no longer guessing. I'm no longer listening to people on Twitter. I have the numbers. I have the days. I have the numbers. Yep. You can go and check every single day. It doesn't matter. It's something that really will change, like will make a shift psychologically, which in trading is obviously extremely important.
Huge.
But yeah, it gives you the confidence to sit in your trades and take trades that are high probability and avoid trades that are low probability.
Right, right, absolutely. And
Yeah,
as traders, you know, anybody who's new to trading, the whole trading's gambling. It is if you don't have any stats to back up what you're doing, but when you have
100%.
probabilities and statistics and analysis, like a platform like Edgeful to help support your thesis or your system or your trade, well,
Yeah,
then you're not gambling. You're taking a probability, right? We're looking at
correct.
it like Andre mentioned, as long as your winners outweigh your losers, something I always like to focus on is at least a 3-to-1 risk to reward, depending on what we're
Nice.
looking at, or
Yeah,
higher. Because then we can be wrong more than 50% of the time
yeah,
and still be profitable. And that's
yeah,
our goal in trading is consistency and profitability. And those will be
exactly.
hand in hand with good risk management and good probability.
Correct. I could not agree more. The Personally, I really hate when people say that trading is gambling
Me too.
because
They don't get it.
even they don't, number one, they don't get it. Most people, and it's tough because you can't really talk to people about trading because you talk to your parents, you talk to your friends, you talk to your like siblings or whatever. They're like, yo, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't know what this means. Like, I don't know what a chart means. Like, it's very hard for other people to give you like the confidence or to give you some like support because they don't know really what it is, and they
Right.
think that like, oh, the markets are these like mystical things that like operate and they like control like money. Like, I don't know how it works, so therefore I don't like it.
Right.
But when you talk about trading as gambling, if you want to start a business, it's gambling. If you're going to frame it like that, if you're assigning anything that says
I
a
like
risk,
that.
if you want to start a business,
Yep.
you're gambling.
Yep.
If you're Nike, for example, and you want to have a new ad campaign that you're going to put $10 million behind, there is a probability that that ad campaign is not going to work. The same exact way that there is a probability that a trade will or will not work, it is the exact same concept. It translates perfectly from Nike to Lululemon to Ferrari to whatever else. There is a probability that is assigned to every decision that you make. Some are higher probability, some are lower probability. Like if Nike releases a new pair of sneakers that are amazing, very high probability that they can get those out. But if they do something else, every campaign, every dollar that's spent, there is a probability associated with getting a return on that dollar. 100%.
Yeah.
And it applies to business, it applies to trading. Even if you want to stay in if you have a career, if you're not interested in being an entrepreneur, if you like the comfort of having a job, if you like the corporate structure, it gives you comfort, it helps you sleep at night, that's 100% fine. But there's also a risk associated with that because someone else can take your promotion.
Dude,
Someone else can,
that's great, sorry.
right?
Yeah, no, I
No, no,
love that analogy. That's so spot on. That's perfect. You're absolutely right. Everything we do, even if it's not work related, comes with risk, right?
100%.
You want to try something new food wise? There could be risk
Yep,
of a
yep,
allergic reaction. Who
correct.
knows?
Everything, everything. And it, I think when people say that trading is gambling, it deters so many people
Yep.
that could love it, that could fall in love with it, that could change their lives from it. But when you hear trading is gambling, it's like, oh, immediately, like, I'm not going to do that. It's gambling. Like, I'm not going to risk like whatever else. And it's not if you know it, if you put in the effort.
Right.
And the statistic of like, oh, these 90% of traders fail. Like, what is the criteria for a trader?
Right.
Anyone with a brokerage account?
And for failing,
Yeah.
does that mean
Like,
they stopped after a week? We're counting
yeah.
everybody that tries one trade and that's it?
Yeah. Like if you have a brokerage account, are you a trader now? I mean, if I go to a basketball court and I start shooting around, like, am I an NBA star? Absolutely not. And
Maybe.
I think yeah, according to some people, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a failed NBA star. So, but
Nice.
I think that it's important for traders and people that are interested in trading or taking it up to understand that you can do this. By no means is it easy. By no means is it a get rich quick scheme.
Nope.
Absolutely not. Do not get into this if you want to do get rich quick. If you want to do it right, you want to trade on the side of the probabilities, you want to trade with an edge, you want to be responsible with your capital. I think it is one of the most incredible businesses to and career paths to go down because There is no HR. There is no hiring. There is no shipping. There is no logistics. There is no warehouse. There is none of the stuff that comes with starting a business. None of the stuff that comes with like answering to or like working on a team project that you don't and you hate your coworkers or whatever, or being in a job that you hate. Like, if you can do it, which in my opinion, everyone can do it with the right amount of work.
Yep.
It is the best thing because you can do it from anywhere. You can do it how you want to do it, when you want to do it. You can decide how much money you want to risk. You can decide how much money you want to make. You can decide how much money you want to pay yourself. There's so many different things that come with trading that I think that unfortunately there are so many aspects of it that get a bad rap online.
Yep.
But it's just, I think, just like it's just like is misleading people in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree because everything that you could say good about trading, somebody will come devil's advocate and tell you why that's bad, you know?
Yeah, exactly. 100%. And what I wanted to do was show you some of the upgrades that we mentioned earlier. I'm just going to log in.
Yeah, guys, if you guys want to type any questions, we'll do some Q&A in a little bit as well. Leave it in the chat on YouTube. Let us know if you got any questions for Andre. Andre, again, thank you so much for being here today.
No, of course. I'm very happy to be here, to be honest.
Awesome.
I'm going to show you guys some of the cool stuff that we're releasing. So,
cool. Oh, wow. Look at that. That's clean.
It's going to be a lot better.
That's clean.
Let me just do this. Okay.
Guys, we're getting a sneak peek right here.
Yeah, this is the design environment. So you guys are getting like the real sneak peek here. But we're going to be changing the interface. So we're going to everything in the body over here is going to be the same. So same report style, same table style. So we're going to be adding the streaks, just like the last 5 gaps up, last 5 gaps down.
That's cool.
So quick little snapshot. The table will still be there. The price chart will still be there. But now we've raised, we've kind of like bucketed differently. So now all the data is in one section. So we grouped all the data together, and then all the explainers are below. Now it's kind of more scattered.
That's good.
But we have the video, we have the explainer, and then we have the explainer text right in here, which will bring a pop-up with all the text that you need to look at.
Is that also where the trading view would be? The trading view app? Oh, that's going to be there.
Yeah.
Cool.
So the price chart will be right here.
Okay.
But
I meant the indicators.
Access, because you only have to do it once, so it doesn't need to live on the page. So we're going to have it right over here in that sidebar.
Awesome.
Yeah, and everything's just going to move over to the side, so you can have more, like, we've outgrown the nav bar on the top, so we've moved it to the side, and we have this section called What's in Play, just for everyone. I didn't touch on this, but the What's in Play section actually tells you, it's in beta right now, but it tells you when a gap is forming, whether it's a gap up or down, what the target, so I mean you can't see right now, it will look like this, or it looks like this before it actually fills.
Gotcha. And
right now we have the gap fill, the orb, the IB, and the ADR report, but it will tell you, like what you can see right here, we have a gap up. Here's your target, so your previous session's closed, it's right here. Here's your gap size. We're actually going to put it in percentage so you don't have to measure it with the measuring tool.
Cool.
Here's how far away price is from the target, so how much meat is there left on the bone for you, right over here. Status of the gap is not filled, it's in play. So this is the trade that you can look for.
Yep.
And then what's your bias based on the probabilities.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. And that's actually currently live in the Edgeful What's in Play section right over here. Right up top. So you can actually go and see this every day.
Nice.
So it'll tell you when it's setting up. We're going to be including it on the report pages as well. And then we're also going to be emphasizing a lot on the bookmarking and favoriting to make this experience a lot more personal.
Cool. That's cool.
You can pick and choose your favorite reports. You can have them all right here. You can switch your tickers from equities to Forex to the futures with one click without having to go open the drop-down menu, click futures, click this, click here, back and forth. So
that's cool. That's great. That's really great. That's gonna make it much easier on that. The whole redesign right here. I love that. Looks awesome.
Yeah. This is what I'm most excited about.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is what I'm most excited about. Right now, we have this drop down. This drop down, we've outgrown it. We launched with like 10 reports. That's why we had a drop down like this. But it's very hard for someone to come in and kind of like figure out what's what and like explore
A
through
little
this
bit.
drop down.
A
Yeah,
little bit.
no question about it. And what this does, this is our report discovery page. In an e-commerce like way, like pretend you're on Amazon,
Right.
you have your filters to the left over here. Once you filter through what you want, you know exactly what's going to be in the middle here. So if you want to look at price action, you want to look at chart pattern reports, and you want to look at scalper only, you can see, okay, I'm looking at the outside days, I'm looking at gap fill, I'm looking at opening range breakout with a little explainer image.
Right.
And now I can bookmark it, I can view the report, and I can go to this explainer. And
Now,
this explainer, go ahead.
What makes the difference between a scalper and day trader on that checklist?
So we have a report, like for example, the average consecutive bars.
Okay.
And this will tell you how often price will continue, like how many consecutive green or red bars there are on average.
Okay.
So like this is perfect if you're scalping.
Right.
But if you're a day trader, like you want to hold for 2 hours or 3 hours, this is probably not going to be as relevant for you.
Gotcha.
What's important to know is that these groupings are not exclusive. So like if the gap fill report appears in scalper, it can also appear in day trader. So you're not missing out on anything.
Okay, good. Cool.
Yeah. But from here, if you see, this gap fill looks interesting, I'm not really sure what it is, I want to click this explainer button, this pop-up will come up, and in one sentence, it will explain what the report does.
That's cool.
It measures how often price touches the previous session's closing price. With an image, it'll be a lot bigger, so you can actually see it.
Right.
You can add it to your bookmarks, or you can go straight to the report right from this report discovery page.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're trying to make the experience that onboarding experience a lot smoother, because once you get to that light bulb moment of, oh my God, I get it now.
Right.
Your trading will change.
Absolutely.
But we need to help you get there. And right now, I'm not delusional, it is a little bit hard to get there.
Yeah.
So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for all of our traders to get to that light bulb moment as fast as possible, so they can change their trading.
Yep. That's great.
And that's what this redesign is going to do, hopefully.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a little Q&A? Got a few questions in the comments.
Yeah, of course.
First one. So, Robert, I could answer this one. He asked, does the app map out your personal trading to give us stats on how we did during the week or during specific times? So I think you're looking more for of a journaling platform, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we do not do that.
Okay.
We don't really have any plans to be honest. I mean, TradeZella, I don't want to shout out any platform, but there are a lot of great platforms that do it already. I'm not sure which ones you guys use, but there are great platforms. So we want to focus on our niche.
Okay. Can you incorporate algo trading using the data? What do you mean by that, Penny?
So you definitely can, and we're actually looking to release this section. So I'm just going to take an assumption here. We're actually going to be releasing an algo piece to Edgeful. So there are two types of traders: discretionary and non-discretionary traders. What I mean by that, a discretionary trader can say, I want to look at this gap flow report. I want to decide where my entry is. Based on the price action that's forming today, I want to decide where my entry is. I want to decide how much size I'm going to use based on XYZ factors, and every single day it'll change. So maybe today I'm going to use lighter size because maybe it didn't form the way that I wanted to. Maybe I'm not going to enter because of this. And there are non-discretionary traders. When this sets up, I will enter with X size no matter what. When it sets up, I'm taking it. Two types of people. Current Edgeful is built more so for those discretionary traders that you have to be able to find your own entries. You have to be able to define your own risk. You have to be able to do those things.
Yep.
What we want to do is build out the other piece where you can come in, say, you know what, I like this opening range breakout strategy. I'm not really sure how I can trade it. What we want to do is give you a templated strategy that you can actually put, you'll be able to connect your broker to Edgeful. and then say,
Ooh.
we'll have like all the historical returns in there based on the inputs that you choose.
Wow.
So if you say like, I want to risk X percent, I want my profit target to be here, like a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1,
Yeah.
we'll have all of like the returns that are going to be like that historical returns.
Yeah.
And then you can say like, I want to run this.
Wow.
And we'll give you the templates. So now it's really important that like we're not going to be saying, here is the holy grail.
Nope.
Here's the holy grail strategy. Here it is. We're going to say, if you want to trade the orb, we're going to give you a blank slate with nothing in it, with the ability to trade the opening range strategy. You need to put in all of your criteria and say, here's how much I want to risk. Here's the trades I want to take. Here's the trades I don't want to take. Maybe based on it's on the orb size, whatever else. Maybe it's based on a weekday. This is where you will have to actually go in and go on Edgeful, find what the data says, and then move that over into the algos. We don't want to ever provide signals. Just to make that clear, we will never provide signals. We will never say this is our holy grail strategy. This is the best of the best. And we will never, I mean, we'll never trade for you. Like,
that's unrealistic. If anybody tries selling you some get rich quick scheme and trading, copy trading, any of that, just know it's a scam.
Yeah, 100%. And be very careful. I mean, I don't know what platforms you guys use, but like there are like fake Twitter accounts of ours, like fake Discord accounts that it's
Discord
just, like,
is a big one. People quite often, you guys too, right? They'll make like a fake.
It's shocking that
like
Discord hasn't handled it.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Thank you. I know. I felt bad. I'm like, is this our fault? But it's like we do everything we can, and then here's another fake Kevin trades with an extra period in it. You know, it's like,
it's the same thing for us. And they're like, hey, I'll trade for you. Like they'll make an account for me, and I'll trade for you. Like send me $500.
Yeah, or open a broker and it's like a scammy broker, an offshore forex or something. Yeah. It happens everywhere, guys.
It's everywhere, and you just have to be really careful. And it's funny. I tweeted at Discord yesterday. I was like, yo, guys, you got to figure it out. Like it's gotten really out of control.
Yeah.
Please.
I mean,
do something about it.
Even if they had something that, like, when they saw they take the same profile picture, like, how is that not a red flag on their system?
It's just, like, hard to believe.
What you could do, what I did was I connected my Twitch account to my Discord. Now, fake accounts, they can't connect anything because they need the login and stuff. So that's a good way of saying, hey, my only real account has my YouTube link to it, has my, something linked to it.
Interesting. Yeah. No, that's good. That's actually smart.
Because Discord ain't doing anything.
Yeah, they're not, which is shocking. And it's such a big platform, but yeah. So, any other questions?
Will Forex pairs be added to what's in play?
Yes. So, the Forex pairs will be added. It will probably be around January.
Okay.
Because we don't receive the live data for Forex yet. But just for you guys, for those of you who, I know that the broker or the exchange is really important for Forex. We use Owanda. So just keep that in mind. Any of the data that you see is Owanda based. So if you're comparing to Forex.com or whatever, there will be like minor differences. So just keep that in mind.
That's good. Do you guys have anywhere on your website where it says you guys get your data from?
It's actually, we're redesigning the landing page as well.
Okay.
And then we're going to have a section that's going to say like Owanda, the NASDAQ, CME.
Awesome.
All the sections.
Sweet. Very cool. Very cool. Guys, any other last minute questions, let me know in the comments and we can ask Andre. Andre, again, thank you so much for being here, dude. This has been an awesome webinar. What a great platform. What a great team you're working with too. Just forward moving, and that's awesome. Really great.
No, I appreciate you having me. Hopefully we can do it again soon.
Yeah.
Once we release the pretty version. I mean, in my opinion, the pretty version. I just can't even stand the other one now.
We'll have to circle back and do another one.
Yeah, for sure.
Just a thought on the pretty version. What about now? I'm not going to name this other software, but they made it so you could change the colors. So if somebody wants black and blue, they could keep it to your colors, or if they wanted like black and red, black and green.
Yeah.
Is that something?
It's actually, according to our CTO, it is actually extremely difficult to do that. Like the amount of work that it requires to be able to switch the colors is very, very difficult and creates a lot of problems.
Gotcha.
At the moment, we'll do that maybe at the end of next year.
Yeah,
I know
no,
that some people hate,
not
I know
important.
that some people hate dark mode, but it's more of like the branding for
Yeah,
us. But
yeah.
that switching back and forth is something that we will only do once we have like a really robust set of features that are more fleshed out, because of how much effort it is just for an aesthetic
Yeah,
piece to it.
for
Yeah.
sure. Will the fair value gaps show in the indicator? I don't know.
Yes,
Yeah.
they will. However, please keep in mind that, so if you go to the fair value gaps indicator, please keep in mind that this indicator that we have, wow, what a recovery. No,
That's what I've
wow,
been
that
telling
is,
everybody. The past like 3 trading days, we'll sell off, find some type of bottom, and what do we do in the afternoon? We rally, we come back.
wow, what a recovery.
Double break.
um, yeah, there it is. Let's go for it. Um, the indicator, you need to be very careful about the mitigation criteria. So in Edgeful, when you go to the fair value gap, you can choose if it gets mitigated by a wick or if it has
Oh,
to get closed on the opposite side.
that's cool. That's really
So
cool.
this indicator, we need to update it. It only will mitigate a fair value gap if it closes
Above
through.
it.
So here's a
Okay.
perfect example.
Oh, look
Price
at
comes
that.
down, bearish fair value gap, price comes back up, doesn't close above, wicks above, so you can still see it here. That would be the by candle close variant of the report. But we need to build a version where if you use the by wick, then you can, this would technically
Adjust
not
the
be
indicator.
plotted here. Correct.
Okay.
And then it will also take from outside of the session you're looking at, which it should not do. So we
Okay.
need to actually update this one to be a lot more robust. But yeah, so it will plot, as you can see them right here. Just make sure that if you're going by wick or by close, that you understand that it should be, like, just keep in mind that if you do have the by wick
Whichever you set it
here,
to.
yeah, because this one would not be here then.
Right.
Just keep that
Right.
in mind.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Cool.
Did I have Spy Option Solution says, why did you close your voice room on the Discord using Edgeful? I don't think they closed it, right? Isn't this your Discord right here?
Yeah, we have a live streaming every day in our Discord.
Cool. Very cool. That's with
Yeah,
James, right?
yeah, it's free. I'm pretty sure it's every day or maybe 3 times a week. You can join the Discord from just clicking this button up right up here. We only let the host speak. Like, we don't let the user, like the trader, speak.
Okay.
Because we don't want people giving like trade signals in there that might not
Be right.
Like, you never, you never know.
Because
Like,
then
we
you
just
guys
don't
might
wanna
be held
responsible.
accountable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we only let the hosts speak.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay, awesome. Cool. Again, guys, any last minute questions? Andre, thank you so much for your time this
I
morning.
appreciate it.
What a fantastic webinar. I'm probably going to have to go back and edit the beginning where we had
Don't worry about
the volume
Don't worry about
issues.
it. Yeah.
But other than that, wow, what an in-depth webinar covering a fantastic platform. I can't wait for you guys to upload this version. That looks so cool,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited for it too. It's gonna be great. And the what's in play, if anyone has any feedback, anyone has any requests for what's in play, please let us know. Like, it's super important for us to get the feedback on it so we can prioritize what's what. All the reports will go into the what's in play eventually. But if you want some high priority items in there, you have to let us know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
When does the update come out? I think you said late December, maybe January.
Yep.
Awesome. And what's
Yeah.
in play for the rest of the day?
ATR has definitely been exceeded. Let's see. ATR has definitely been exceeded.
At this point in the day, guys, a lot of things have already played out. Volume
Correct.
starts to dissipate. A lot of
Correct,
momentum was
correct.
already in.
Yeah. Personally, I wouldn't be looking for too many trades. I mean, this is like my personal opinion now, like not anything like data backed, but I would not be looking for any trades right now. I said before, like, I got a little bit of FOMO even looking at this move.
Yeah.
So that means immediately for me, that's a signal for me not to be looking for any trades now. So
Good, dude. Good. Wow.
yeah,
So not only do you make a great platform, but you got good trading psychology too.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
I
all
try,
for
man.
it, man.
I try.
Love it, dude. Great.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Absolutely, man. Everybody,
All right.
take care. I'm gonna wrap the stream up now. Have a great day. Don't forget to check out Edgeful at edgeful.com. You can join our community
Thank
at
you.
bullishbears.com. In my pre-market preps, I do like to go over some Edgeful reports to help back my personal analysis, right? So using Edgeful tools, Edgeful statistics, and market statistics, along with my analysis to give me a better chance, right? A higher percent chance, or to even
Yeah.
tell me that, maybe this setup might not be the best setup.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Exactly.
All right, guys, take care and happy